Welcome back to Invest Global. Today we're doing a deep dive on KEL VPN. Now, there's a lot of VPNs out there on the market, basically virtual private networks, but this one is focused on blockchain technology, being a DVPN. We'll talk about what that means, and actually having built-in things basically for quantum computing security, right? So even if you have a quantum attack on your data, your privacy, so this is something where I think large organizations with massive databases like Facebook, Google, Apple, would want to have protection against. They obviously have their own proprietary things, but it's also interesting from an individual user stand base. I always like using a VPN. I'm always constantly traveling to new emerging markets, currently here in Batumi, Georgia on the Black Sea. And there's always basically a benefit of having a VPN because essentially there's certain things, there may be advertised things like Express VPN, more kind of consumer-based VPNs, where some people want to access Netflix shows from around the world. That's one thing where they're location based, but there's so many other things you can do, and especially that I'm most interested with investing and finance, the different things that they allow you to do with VPNs. Basically, using the kind of location based servers. It can seem like you're in Mongolia at 12 o'clock and in Shanghai at 1 o'clock, right? So you can literally change your location, all these different things. And on top of that, you have massive security. One of the biggest problems that I see that KelVPN is fixing, first of all, is that quantum computing issue, which, again, we're going to cover all this along with some of the things on their Medium article, some of their updates, and then the actual KEL token. But the main thing that I find interesting is the actual product here and how they offer this interesting niche. In the past, I've done a video on the top 3 VPNs for crypto investors, and I did not include KelVPN because I wasn't actually aware of it. But this product is very, very interesting. But along with all these things, the biggest thing that I see is a lot of these like I'm not going to name names, but ExpressVPN has been, it has been said in the past that they sell their data, just like Facebook sells their data. That's how they make money. So it was something like ExpressVPN has been accused of it in the past. I'm just saying that's what I've seen in the news, and especially from users. But this is the part of the thing, right? Is the whole point about having a VPN is having your own privacy. And I know the ExpressVPN is kind of mass advertised. I would say that NordVPN, and then NordVPN is the one that I like and use. I also have multiple VPNs just in case, because I used to use ExpressVPN a long time ago. Then I switched over to Nord just because of some difficulties I had there. And Nord is a bit better. And then also Mulvad VPN, which is much more towards crypto investors, where you can actually pay with crypto. And that's the one thing here is you're still paying in fiat currency, right? So I do like, if you're going to be a crypto-based project, so it would be nice to accept payment in crypto. So let's do a quick overview here. Then we'll get into some of the things on their Medium. By the way, stay up to date with KelVPN here on Twitter. I always recommend doing this with crypto projects. They're followed by TrustSwap. This is where they were launched on, if I remember correctly. So at KelVPN, everything we talk about throughout the video will be linked down below in the description. And you can follow us at investglobal_IO to stay up to date. But it's always important to do this, just especially if you're just interested in general. So you can kind of see, okay, they're launching this new product. Maybe they accept crypto payments in a month from now. That's where you see it on the Twitter. That's where you're kind of going to see these updates, because it's not like people just go on the website every month to check these things unless you're part of the team. So the first ever deanon-proof VPN is now available. It keeps your data safe by tunneling in it between blockchain nodes and encrypting it. So instead of having your data on one centralized server base, that's the beautiful thing about blockchain, similar with like cloud computing storage, right? So things like a cold stack does this, and things like Filecoin does this, right? So using the IPFS, that's in kind of the cloud computing network. It's nice, at least for me personally, when I'm looking at, okay, what's a centralized version like Web 2.0? So something like Dropbox or something like Google Drive, and then moving to Web 3.0 with IPFS, those projects that I just talked about. And then in this use case, it's not necessarily cloud computing, right? So you can kind of stack this on top of it, but it's actually securing your data, securing your location, all these different things that maybe you use the cloud to do these things. Maybe you're using ExpressVPN, or maybe you're using one of these more like free VPN, which I do not recommend any free VPNs, to be quite honest with you. You get what you pay for, right? Just like, when you're using Facebook or you're using these social media sites, you're the product. They're selling your data, and that's the whole thing here. So especially someone who's kind of doing a bit more high-level investing and really wants to keep these things private, right? It's very important that I'm always kind of thinking about, updating my security online, also like in person, obviously, but online is honestly the biggest threat, especially with kind of quantum computing. So with our VPN, nobody will be able to track your data. So you can see they have it available on Windows, Linux, Mac, and Android. You can see the monthly pricing here. This is not a pitch for them. I'm not sponsored by them, but it's not bad, right? Especially compared to other products in the market there. 12 months for $35. That's not bad at all. And this is kind of like a basic overview. Again, we'll get into more detailed things, and I'll talk about kind of more quantum computing things, but they basically describe themselves as the first decentralized blockchain-based VPN. It doesn't rely on a central point of control and cannot collect logs, spy, or sell your data, which is a problem that we see. Military-grade encryption from the future. So quantum-safe cryptography protects you even from supercomputer attacks. In 5 years, it will be the standard according to the National Institute of Standards and Technology. So anyone in the KEL VPN team, I would love to see an article from the National Institute of Standards and Technology, because it's easy to just kind of say these things. A lot of projects do that, but I would love if you, provided maybe an article on that, or, just some sort of resource so we could go, hey, this is backed up by what they're actually saying, because I would be very interested in that. So no limited, unlimited, that's weird. Access to video, music, social media, and more from anywhere in the world. That's awesome. And then, faster than your internet. So advanced routing algorithm that can make your internet connection even faster. The shortest way is not always the fastest. So the actual token here, we'll get into that a bit more later. It has retraced significantly down. I always like to zoom all the way out, right? So this was kind of that private sale that went on. It launched, I think, like on an IDO on some of these launch pads, and then it took a massive crash, right? But I mean, interesting opportunity to potentially get in. I don't know. The volume trading is very, very low. You can see it's listed on what exchanges? Yeah, just listed on Uniswap. So KEL/ETH. So be careful with this. Always, guys, do your own research. This video is obviously meant for education purposes. Don't take this as financial advice. I purely am showing you this because I think the VPN is interesting, the actual product itself. Whether or not you're interested in the token, that is all part of doing your own research, which I have a video linked below every single video that I do, how to do your own research down below. So go check that out. But let's return back here. You can see the team here. Mira, I'm not even going to try and pronounce your last name, but Mira, I know she has a lot of experience in the space, and like IT and in cybersecurity. And then Kontanen, I'm very sorry about pronouncing the names, and Daniel. So shout out to all of them. I love it when they have the LinkedIn, so you can go check out what's up with them. They also have more of their experience here on another page. So the server is the first ever deanon-proof VPN is now available. It keeps your data safe. We already talked about that. Nobody will be able to track your data. But this is what I wanted to show you is, safer than others. So the quantum computing encryption on board to protect your private data, even at the attack of a quantum computer. We have also developed our own modules for traffic tunneling. These help avoid errors and other vulnerabilities that other VPNs have. So very interesting. Here we go. So this is another thing I did want to mention. The advantages here. So looking at the competitive markets of online security and privacy, KelVPN is able to stand out by leveraging Cellframe's modern post-quantum encryption that guarantees the highest level of security for KelVPN users, even when quantum computing inevitably advances to stage the risk for most encryptions. Various VPNs have been revealed to be selling user data to corporations. Again, that's the biggest kind of use case that I see here. You never know, right? Like NordVPN, it's a centralized company. ExpressVPN, centralized company. These are things that you always have to realize, right? And this means that there's centralized server bases. Your name, your username, your password, all of your credit card information stored in a centralized server base. Now, obviously, if KelVPN would accept crypto as payment, I would be a little bit more happy about what they're doing. I mean, I love fundamentally what they're doing. I don't necessarily use it currently. I'm considering it, but maybe I'll try and reach out to the team and talk to them about what's going on, because I do have like links down below for kind of my top 3 VPNs. Currently, but maybe I'll switch out ExpressVPN for KelVPN moving forward. Who knows? But I would kind of like to speak with the team. Maybe I'll do like an interview with the founder or something like that. So various VPNs have been revealed to selling user data. We talked about that. So KelVPN tackles the pressing issue of privacy through decentralization by operating on top of the Cellframe's decentralized network where all the traffic is distributed between different nodes. So this removes the presence of a central point of control. Again, kind of that central point of failure, which ensures KelVPN cannot collect logs, spy, or sell your data. So that's pretty awesome. The main thing you have to understand here is blockchain saying that is a bit of a blanket statement. What really is most important is the amount of nodes in the network and making sure they're in different locations around the world. And it's not just one person running 1,000 nodes, right? Because that's technically a central point of failure if that one person goes offline. But again, you can see this here. This is what matters, right? So is it 4 nodes or is it 100,000 nodes or 1 million nodes? That's kind of the beauty of Bitcoin and Ethereum. And it's nice that this is an ERC20 token because, it's using that network effect, kind of the Metcalfe's law that Ethereum has around it. But, with these larger networks like Bitcoin, it's much, much more decentralized. That's a beautiful thing, especially when you compare that to something like XRP, which XRP, that's kind of where they fail in the blockchain trilemma, is they're a bit more centralized. That's why they were able to be attacked by the SEC, right? So Anyways, that's basically it. So the current features, the original protocol versus DPI, so deep packet inspection. We'll wrap it up here. So lots of time to detect and trace. KEL VPNs. Proto is stealth enough to be undetected by the notorious golden firewall of China. Wow, that's very, very interesting. That is massive, actually. I don't think a lot of VPNs can do that. So when the DPI gets strong enough to detect the usage of KEL VPN, the protocol rotates quickly and keeping the user undetected. That's pretty awesome. Post-quantum encryptions ensure the traffic data is secure. Even quantum computers stand no chance to decrypt the traffic data. So again, I would like to speak with the team a little bit more, but they updated it. I always like to look, okay, when's the last update for this project? Especially when you see this token kind of take this massive crash. That doesn't necessarily mean that the project fundamentally isn't great. It just means that, hey, like, maybe people use the VPN, but they don't hold the token, right? The token's completely different. I'm pretty sure there's a governance token, if I remember correctly. Correct me if I'm wrong down below in the comments. If you have any questions throughout this video, let me know down below in the comments. And you can also join the Telegram group, which is linked down below. If you want to continue the conversation, talk about maybe some of your favorite VPNs, just because in the comment section, sometimes, it's very one-sided, right? Like you send a comment, maybe I reply. Some of my replies are getting deleted on YouTube. I don't know what's going on exactly with YouTube and the channel, but it's so strange, to be quite honest with you. Because like I see that I'm replying to comments, but then they get deleted, and it's very, very odd. But anyways, again, as I said, follow them at KEL VPN here on Twitter. You can see the token here, like I talked about. Current price is around 0.2 cents. 2 cents. About 1,300 people like this. It's always good sentimental analysis. Make sure you're on the official sites here. You can check out their Etherscan when you're doing your own research. Trading volume is tiny, so keep that in mind. And it's always bits, I like it when the market cap's on there, but that's sometimes the problems with like the data oracles on CoinGecko. It's not necessarily KEL VPN's problems. But yeah, that's basically it. If you want to see another video about the tokenomics and things like that, you see a private sale there, 25%, public sale 2%, liquidity 3%, ecosystem 15%, mining rewards 10%, reserves, you got to spell that correctly, guys. 10% and seed 10%, team and advisory 25%. Okay, interesting. So you can see all those different things there. That's all for this video. If you enjoyed it, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and click all to stay up to date. As always, invest global, and until next time.